Well, here we go again. We're supposed to close on one of our deals later this month. And it's like, basically within a week. And turmoil, chaos happened at the very end. Had nothing. One of the private equity groups, DSO type things, were buying it. So all of a sudden, we got turmoil in the office. Had to do with one of the associate doctors, one of the producers, who's a pretty good producer, maybe, 30%, 40%. One of those producers, dentists, decide they want to leave. Because the seller was going to stay on, and the associate never agreed with the seller's business tactics, treatment planning tactics. But we said, it's going to get better. There's a new owner now. It should be okay. And the buyer didn't want to have anything to do with it. The buyer just left. I think kind of infected the staff a little bit. Got a little bit of staff sabotage going on. So all of a sudden, and I was the broker. The DSO was paying my commission, as they do with a few of them. And I was able, all of a sudden, the buyer's calling me. What do I do now? And then the seller's calling me. What do we do now? The one associate's leaving, and it's the DSO wants to put things on hold now because one of the main producers is leaving, and turmoil in the office occurred. And then they start saying everybody's leaving. Then the rumor that's a rumor that happens. All this misinformation, it happens all the time. I see it happen. Not all the time, but it does happen. So once again, I was in the position, the seller's calling me. Well, what do we do now? What's our game plan? What's the pulse? And then the buyer's calling me. Well, how does he feel now? Because we're going to have to change the deal. We have to lower the selling price. And how do you think he's going to take it? Checking with me. Once again, the value of the broker is very important. So, one thing led to another, that now it looks like can't convince the associate to come back. Can't convince him to come back into the office. They're gone. So the seller is going to stay longer and work the practice. Things have calmed a little bit, but the DSO doesn't want to move forward at this time. They want a replacement associate in there so they can monitor the numbers for a couple of months, and then they'll re-enter. So you had a situation where you had a letter of intent. The time period is basically running out as far as due diligence and all. And the buyer is saying, we don't want to proceed forward at this point, but we're still very interested. So we have to start all over again. And you've got to walk the seller through it. He's going to have to get a new associate to replace the other ones. He'll have to fill in the gap in the meantime, and I think he can do it. But everybody's upset, and the deal's falling apart. So there's no deal that really closes until 5 minutes or 5 minutes after the closing. That's when it's closed. That's when we relax. 5 minutes after the closing. We don't relax before that. And that's what happens. These things happen. There's no guaranteed deal. I don't care if the closing's tomorrow. It's 5 minutes after the closing, after the money exchanges hands. That's when your deal is over with. That's when the deal is finished. That's when you can exhale. So what will happen to this deal? Cooling off period. Get a new associate in there. And the seller has requested that I try to get other buyers in case the first buyer bails out again. And this is what happens. You got to be prepared for it. So myself and my team are ready for chaos. We're accustomed to this. We're accustomed to the last minute problems, and we're there to accommodate both the buyer and the seller. This is a tough situation. So for anything now, it's going to be delayed at least 3 months. And let's see what happens after that. I don't know. Fortunately, this seller had a very good attorney, dental attorney, and so did the buyers. So, we had people with level thinking. We'll have to follow this deal from here on out and see what happens. We'll keep you posted in a couple months.